Okay, so this is a site report from a commercial site in Europe, actually. We're using the name, code name Sunrise here because the lawyers, getting the lawyers involved was going to be an expensive and time-consuming proposition. So we're going to change the name here to protect the innocent. I'm presenting this on behalf of Ralf Brunckhurst, excuse me. He provided all this information actually, and he was not able to attend. So I'm presenting on his behalf. So all the information that are in the slides were given to me by Ralf, and I've just tried to condense things to get them to fit into a slide deck. So a little bit of history at Sunrise. This site was started using AFS in the late 90s. 99 was introduced at a single site. And over in the early 2000s, more sites were added, more servers were added. And by 2006, this site ran out of read-write replicas. Like, as you know, in OpenAFS, you have a limited number of read-write volumes you can have per read-only volume. And so they ran out of replication sites that they needed. So they started creating subcells, which is a common way of scaling AFS out horizontally. And they came up with Ralf came up with a way of managing that data. By 2015, Sunrise deployed a project called CellCC, which actually was developed by Andrew and supported by Andrew and Marcio now. And this is something we're going to be talking about this week. Actually, CellCC is it's on GitHub. It's a project to replicate cells. And in 2019, we deployed something called DPF, which is an extension to OpenAFS to allow, I think, are we talking about DPF this week as well?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll be talking about DPF this week as well. So this is something the site is using to improve performance of volume releases across wide area network. So from a business perspective, or I would say, yeah, from a business perspective of why they're using AFS. So in this environment, AFS is used for the Unix services, and it's used as a mechanism for deploying applications across the plant, across actually several continents, because they have locations across the globe. And also providing a way to provide environmental variables for the different sites, so configuration management, if you will, for the servers across the globe. And this site has came up with a internal project they call ARC, which is Application Release Center, which is their project for managing the environments on top of AFS. As it turns out, because of ARC and these other projects that layer on top of AFS, the end users are pretty much, AFS is transparent to them. So many people that are in the environment don't even realize that AFS is under the covers. So I think this is a common thing happens at a lot of large sites. They don't realize that there's AFS under the covers. So within their environment, machines that are clients are called managed workplaces, and they manage, at Sunrise, we manage applications and environments, as I mentioned. And the ARC is a project that they've used for managing their application distribution. So on managed workstations have a symlink, a slash on the root directory, there's a slash app directory, which is a symlink to an app directory within the local cell for that client, because different clients are in different cells in the region, depending on what region the client is in. And this supports different flavors of Unix, Solaris, Red Hat, different versions of Ubuntu, and different architectures. So we use the ATSYS or managing which binaries to use for that platform. And then the environment space is configuration information for those clients. So we have licensing files that are needed because there's commercial software running within AFS, and site-specific files. Cron jobs are all managed through this, things like that. And it's all, there's on managed servers, there's a /env directory, which is the symlink to an environment variables that are all managed through AFS. And then this, of course, the cell here depends, it'll depend on which local cell that client is in.
Did you want questions at the end?
I'm sorry?
Did you want questions at the end or yours first?
Maybe at the end, and I may need to write them down and ask Ralph because I may not know the answers. Because like I said, all this information was provided by Ralph. Oh, so CellCC, I think we're talking about this week. CellCC is a project. Oh, these were slides from Ralph. So CellCC, so the presenting issue was that the system that that was used at Sunrise really was showing its age and wasn't scaling very well. They still had cells with there were limitations on this on the database servers. So with CellCC, we now have a single site with a single cell, and it replicates select volumes to target cells within the environment. And the other technology we mentioned here was DPF. So this year, actually, at Sunrise, we deployed DPF, which allows us to use TCP IP for volume releases. So we can do volume releases over TCP IP, and that significantly improved performance over wide area networks. So for example, releasing volumes from Europe to North America, we can get 5 to 15 times performance improvements for that. Statistics, we have, so there are 5 active cells at Sunrise. We have a single source cell, which is like the master cell, and then there are target cells, which are, so data is propagated out from the source cell and exported into the target cells, and CellCC is the software that's managing that. And total there's 33 servers. So it gives you an idea of the kind of scale here we have. So Ralph provided some information about the hardware we're using. So we're running Pro Alliance servers. For file servers, we're running on physical servers. And all the database servers are running on virtual machines. There's VMware. We're using VMware virtual machines for most of them, but we have one Zen virtual machine for the database servers. So for this site, virtual machines are working well for database servers. And for our servers are all Red Hat based on x86. And the slides going forward here are just basically statistics. So just showing like what's in the plant, what kind of hardware and software we're running. In terms of clients, so we have, these are the target, these are not clients within the master realm. Most of the clients are in the target clients because it's mostly read-only data that we're dealing with. So there's a main target. The first 2 are the main ones. That's where most of the clients are, but then there are other ones in other locations. So I think these are spread out globally in different regions. So we have about 2,400 clients worldwide for this deployment. And most of those clients are running Red Hat Linux currently, and there's some SLES, and one lonely developer is running Debian. Yeah, and slides for all these slides I'll be pushing them up to the workshop website so you guys can have this information. And here's a breakdown of the types of architectures we're running for clients. So most of our clients are Red Hat, 6 and 7 on x86, but there's a mixture. There's some Solaris Spark still in production. and some 32-bit SLES machines, it looks like. A few Solaris, there's some Solaris 10 x86 machines. And the Debian developers running on Intel, apparently.
Mike, you didn't say the Spark.
Oh, I did. I mentioned Spark.
You gotta call out.
Oh, wait, yeah, you got to call out Spark 8. There's a Spark 8, a Solaris 8 machine running on Spark. There's 2 of them still. Anyone want to bet they're running 1.4? OpenAFS 1.4? 1.4.2 probably. So I expect those machines aren't going to be upgraded. Eventually they'll just be running. Eventually they'll be cycled out, I suppose.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you had any x86 Solaris, because on the first.
Oh, yes, there is.
Just the Spark.
Yeah, here's some. Yeah. So we have x86 Solaris, not many. So these must be, you know, these are probably engineering machines that are doing. So like the use case for this is like engineering and development for most of these machines. Engineering, test, development, things like that. In terms of clients, oh yeah, so this kind of breakdown of versions in the plant. So most clients are fairly recent, 1.6.21, 12,000 of them. And then there's some other clients, they're mostly 1.6 clients. There's a few, so this is, yeah, so there's 1.6.23, which was being rolled out. And there's about 100 1.4 clients that are probably going to just stay 1.4 until that hardware is refreshed, I imagine. But the exciting news here is that for Sunrise, we're moving to 1.8 now. So moving forward, our standard builds will be on 1.8. So starting with 1.8.4 probably, we'll be starting a standard build to 1.8, and we'll be rolling those out as the standard package. And so clients will have to select an old one if they need that for some reason. So the default will be 1.8 going forward. So currently there's not a lot of them that are deployed. But so it's sort of a beta phase that we're doing. Oh, and some information. So Ralph provides some information. So, you know, almost all of our machines are running on the disk cache. There's about 90 machines that are running on memcache that I think they're trying to eke out some more performance for those machines. They're probably development machines or something like that. And I believe this is my last slide, actually. So this was, this is a bit of an eye chart, but basically it's just some statistics on volume releases, just the amount of data that's being released. So you can see that he's just tracking how much data is being released and how many volumes are being released. And this goes from 2016 to 2019. So it's like some long-term trends.
So the red is the number of volumes and the green is the quantity of data?
Yes.
Not quite, that's number of releases.
Yeah, also, yeah, the red is number of releases and the green is amount of data being transferred.
So I think releases means like if they ran lost release.
I think so.
Do we know what makes for the spike?
No, I don't know. I think probably when projects are rolled out, I suppose, or when new software is released.
And the data, is the data like the amount of data or it's like the transfer?
This is the amount of data, I believe.
Okay. How frequently are they doing the replication?
How frequently?
Depends on the volume.
Yeah, I think it depends on how often.
You mean how often or how quickly they execute? No, how often? That's up to them.
I think it depends on when software is distributed. So as new releases of software come out, I think it's pretty much all the time. They're doing releases every day. I think it's running. I think it pretty much runs every day. They're running some sort of releases of new things.
Well, certainly, yeah, certainly at least one thing every day. I assume that there's always releases running for something.
Yeah, because it's automated, so it's running all the time. If you guys have specific questions, I can take them down and ask Ralph to, maybe he can join us later in the week, or I can email him.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I was thinking through that.
Any question? Yeah, go ahead, Rich.
You had mentioned about the significant change going to TCP.
Uh-huh.
Is it really the TCP or is it the window size is finally large enough to accommodate true?
Yeah, in this case, it's the window size.
Okay.
But that's, I mean, with TCP, you get a very large window size.
Yeah. So yeah, for TCP, in this case, we're talking about, yeah, so it's the data is being transported over TCP using what Andrew did talks in a workshop past about how we're using TCP. So there's sites that are using some code that allows you to do the transfers out of band of RX using over TCP. In this case, we're doing them for volume releases instead of client to file server. So it's volume server to volume server TCP.
Yeah, it sort of seems like you're getting the benefit of a congestion control algorithm that has been tuned by lots of very smart people in upstream Linux or Solaris or whatever for modern hardware. And the OpenAFS RX congestion control was sort of tuned by amateurs for 20-year-old hardware.
Yeah.
Right now the window size is really small if you're really doing anything on the LAN. Just tops out of it.
Yeah.
But I also know that I guess we talked for years about increasing that window size. Yeah, I know the Orrstore guys have done some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Still somewhat limited, but
Yeah.
those flow control stuff you have to do.
Yeah, and I think because of cell CC and things like that, and sites that are running large multi-cell environments, when you're transferring data between cells, right, you're doing that over TCP. You're not using a BOSS release for that, or something. You're not doing a BOSS release for.
Well, Ralph is for part of, like, the reason they use it there, it's faster there because their releases are going over pretty big parts of the WAN. So
Yeah.
they have different, like, cells, but even within the cell, they sometimes have servers, different
Right.
countries.
We have customers with a 1/4 petabyte volume.
Mhm. Oh, okay, yeah,
So it's working.
yeah,
Basically, you have to implement the kind of flow control. We developed the Google research
yeah,
up until the end of last year and just ported that over to the protocol. So
Yeah.
we're now pretty much about the same speed.
yeah. So, but they're doing volume releases within the cell, like Andrew's saying, but there's also transfer of data between cells, which means, well, I guess you have to do that way that's done, like do a volume dump,
Yeah, we'll
stream
talk
that.
about
But we'll talk about. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Any other questions about the slides that I had here or the stats?
So it looked like you were showing you had like the 33 servers and all the file servers were on physical hardware, but the database servers were all virtualized.
Yes.
And so I guess I'm sort of inferring from that for the file servers you need the physical hardware for the performance, but with the database servers you're not doing as much data transfers and virtualizations of the data.
I don't know if that's why they do it. I assume that the file servers, like, they use the whole server for it, where the database server maybe they have other servers like on the same machine, and they, I guess, like to keep them isolated. But I guess we're guessing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It might be historical, or that's a good question. I think I'm going to ask Ralph because I didn't realize they had a mix of virtual and physical servers until I saw this information. But
Yeah, I had two other questions.
okay, go ahead. Any other questions?
Ask Ralph, but I was noticing you have the /app namespace.
Yes.
But you also have components that are on different OSs and you're using AppSys. And I was sort of curious if the software that's available in the /app namespace is like the same software roughly for all the OSs, just different builds, or you
I
have
think
some
that's the
software
case.
Solaris only, or
I think it's a mix, but mostly it's the same software. Because I think a lot of their software is Java based.
okay, so that would be a lot more portable. I know at MIT, we had some software like FrameMaker you can only get on Solaris.
Okay.
So the newer stuff you can only get on Linux. Of course, operate a bunch of the spikes at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, some people are shedding a tear back there.
Any other questions? Okay, thanks everyone for your attention. So hopefully next year we'll have some more site reports from other places as well, so we can get some better feel for what people are actively doing.